Watch this.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to NUSIC Live. My name is Jacob Moss. I'm your host. NUSIC Live is the show that I get to talk about the news so I don't really have to think about it for the rest of the week. My first story today is going back to Vermont and their legalization of cannabis. And they are officially the first state in the union to legalize cannabis just by their legal process with no citizen referendum. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that the state Senate had legalized it or had passed it, and this week they officially, it's done. That's it. Cannabis is legal. And their governor, Phil Scott, said, "I personally believe that what adults do behind closed doors on private property is their choice, so long as it does not negatively impact the health and safety of others, especially children." And I think that sentiment is shared by pretty much anybody in the cannabis community and anybody just in support of that whole situation. So, good on Vermont. Our next story. According to a report by the nonprofit organization Oxfam International, 82% of the wealth created by the United States this past year went to the top 1%. We're apparently in a period called the Billionaire Boom, where the top 1% is getting much richer, and the bottom 99% is getting less rich. Shall we move on? The governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, he has signed in an executive order requiring internet providers in the state to abide by net neutrality. So the FCC taking away net neutrality, and if that goes forth through the Senate and the House and the President, New York will at least have that state regulation. Similarly, the Montana governor, Steve Bullock, has signed basically the same exact thing. In New York City, Bill de Blasio, he's trying to sue a whole bunch of pharmaceutical companies for fueling and helping this opioid crisis that the country, and specifically New York, is deep into. They are suing for roughly $500 million from Endo International, Johnson & Johnson, Purdue Pharma, Teva Pharmaceutical, and as well as distributors such as AmerisourceBergen Corp., Cardinal Health Inc., and McKesson Corp. So this is a big step for tackling the opioid crisis and addressing the problem that the pharmaceutical companies really are the heart of the problem, spending tons of money creating all of these opioids and convincing the patients that they need to stay on them, and after a little while they need no convincing. I would say personally that $500 million is barely a start. There are reparations that really need to be taken into account for it's just a huge problem in these pharmaceutical companies, especially combined for $500 million. It's a drop in the hat. So, good start, though. On to the government shutdown that took place last week. So it started on Friday and came to a screeching halt Monday morning at 1 a.m. They struck a deal in the House that will allow the budget to continue until February 8th. So this whole debate will continue again at that time. I guess I'm kind of considering why there's a government shutdown, who is gaining something from that, because nothing is ever by chance in politics. Nothing is just clumsy and unintentional, There has to be some kind of ulterior motive from somebody who just needed to stall just for the weekend, just to shut down some kind of government program. The public may never know, but we need to just, I think, remember that as stupid as we think these politicians are, there's always something going on. The United States is in a particularly interesting relationship with government shutdowns. It happens in virtually no other country. The Australia Parliament shut down for a time in 1975. And you know what happened is the Queen fired everybody in Parliament. So that should tell you something about what we allow. The U.S. has had approximately 20 government shutdowns since then. There we go. All right. And it's going to be a short show today. This is my last story and the end of my show. We're only 7 minutes in, but just giving you a news update. This is NUSIC Live, and all we need here at Listen Vision. Trump has officially agreed to testifying under oath to Robert Mueller about the suspected collusion with Russia in his 2016 campaign. He, quote, said, "I would love to. I would do it under oath. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it." And yet, back in June, President Trump ordered Robert Mueller to be fired, and he only let that go when the White House counsel all threatened to resign. It's quite the situation when he knows that he's being investigated. It's an ongoing thing. He's been, many people are investigating this, the FBI, the judicial court. And his big thing is that he says that he'll testify under oath. It's all good. But then on the low, he'll fire the main guy. So that's all I got. That's the end of the show today. You see these magnificent little guys, which are pretty fun. These just came in the mail today, and they will be being used on District Spotlight. And if I consumed cannabis, I would put a quarter in right now and get the experience. But not about that life, I guess. So, Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make music so much fun. Shut the hell up. All right. See you guys next week. I'll be back with more news, hopefully, if anything happens in the next week. See you guys later.
Watch this.